our Brick Award winners from last week's Chamber of Commerce Night of Distinction from the Jackson County Intermediate School District, Superintendent Kevin Oxley and Director of Finance and Operations, Roger Hours. Kevin, Roger, congratulations.
Thank you, Bart. Thanks for having us.
Good to be here.
What a project. Brick Award, the Chamber and Jackson Commercial Contractors Association had a lot to choose from this past year, and the new Central Campus, aka former Frost School, was one of the recipients.
Yeah, it was really nice to see that recognition. Roger has really been the JCISD project manager on the whole project, and he's just done a great job. I think you can tell him how many fibers are in the carpet and how thick every piece of tile is. And but what an exciting project!
It was a school for many years, and the Jackson Public Schools sold it to you for, I think, $1.
Yes,
$1. Yeah, it sounds like a bargain, but obviously millions had to go into it.
Correct. It was a great deal, really, for JPS because they had put money into their bond issue to tear it down, and by selling it to us, they saved the cost of tearing it down, and were able to put that into the other schools they were renovating. And yes, we did put in a lot of money, but JPS had invested a lot, so we were able to keep a community asset. And one of the things that we really saw as we worked on the project was how many people had a connection to the old Frost School. You know, they went there, or mom or dad taught there, or they learned to swim there. And the stories that I heard from the folks that were working on the project, they just never ended. And they just kept going, and it showed in the pride and how excited they were to be a part of this, and in a sense saving Frost School for the community. So that was really a great part of the project, and not something we really expected when we started.
You know, and I think the neighborhood really was excited to hear that the building was going to be saved. It's become, a landmark in that area, and as you said, educated a lot of kids that grew up to be subcontractors.
Yeah. Well, and two new schools right there in that neighborhood, so that's really nice because Cascades is also a new elementary, so it's brought a lot to that neighborhood. And as Roger said, having Mercer as our construction manager, and a vast majority of everybody who worked on that was local. And so the stories are neat, and they recall when they were at elementary school, and the cooperation that comes with all of those contractors in one place because they know each other.
I think, wasn't Frost a junior high for a minute?
I think it may have been.
When it opened and started back 1950, it was a junior high school, and I don't know when it changed from a junior high back to an elementary, but it did start as a junior high school.
Yeah, and it had the Huskies for so many years, their mascot for their sports teams, and it was really neat. It was a neat building architecturally, I always thought. So I was glad that you were able to rescue it.
And the Husky continues. Each of the wings of the building and the different programming that are in it have their own mascot. So the Huskies are the early childhood wing mascot, and we've got the Ravens and the Bulldogs and the Red Hawks in other parts of the building. So
let's take a look at some of the finished work at the new, what's now called ISD Central Campus. So tell us some of the things you were able to save and some of the new things.
This is the early childhood wing, and the floor is carryover, so that stayed. The hallways are basically the same, but the entry way to each classroom had to be redone in order to meet the ADA requirements. With the school being built back in the 1950s, it just wasn't up to speed. So in general, most of the classrooms are the same in terms of size. We did redo a couple of walls to add electrical and technology componentry behind new walls, but they're basically the same, but a lot of the other things changed. So you can see all new ceilings and lights there, and they're doing some painting work there.
As you said, Roger, having people, the workmen, be former students, obviously that's evidence you shop local.
Mm-hmm.
We try to, and Mercer helped with that, and again, the vast majority of the subcontractors are local contractors. The farthest away, one from Lansing, one from Kalamazoo, and the others all closer than that, and most right in the Jackson area. So this is one of the new playgrounds, and just spectacular. We really wanted to give our kids something that they could be proud of, and this is kind of a cute story. The first day that we had kids in the building, mm-hmm. Kevin and Ray Van Zandt, our facilities supervisor, and I were all watching them come in, and there's a big bank of windows by the playground, and they came in and their jaws were down, and pretty soon kids were just plastered along that wall of windows, and they're calling their friends over. Wow, is this right? We get to play there? Wow, come on. And just, I will never forget that, and it made all the work worthwhile to see that.
The teachers were hoping recess was right away that day because they couldn't contain them until recess time. But
I think it was one of the first things you finished because you can see it from the park, and it does. It's striking. It's yeah. If I was a kid, I'd be all over that.
Yeah.
And then the new entrance. It looks like there was some new construction that you put some more cement blocks on the building.
We added on to the main front office. If you think of the old Frost School, if you drove by it, it was kind of hard to tell where
there was no
the
entrance.
front entrance was. Where do you go in? So we wanted to give a clear look. This is the front main entrance to the building. And because we have the different programs, as Kevin mentioned earlier, kind of 4 schools within, we also added on the north side for our north entrance where some of those students come in. And that enabled us to do the Sally Port, the safe entryways that are very common in schools these days, mm-hmm. so that you're controlling kids when they come in, but visitors are routed into the office to check in, and just helps with the safety and security of our students at all times too.
Yeah, you border two streets, so you've got people coming in on both sides. You mentioned, one of the things that you mentioned, and I think we have some photos from the actual night of distinction when you accepted the brick award, but all the construction, all the work, the benefit is geography and convenience for the families of the school.
Yeah, well, it's certainly convenience for staffing of these programs. They were spread out all over the county, mm-hmm. and so we're able to bring them into one space and have multiple supports within one building, so we don't have to have people spread all over the county and then run those supports from places to places. And it gives the kids that, a sense of belonging and a sense of this is our home. We're not renting space in somebody else's home. So that's been really neat. You saw the picture there earlier. It was really a team effort at the ISD as well. Roger's really been overseeing the whole thing, but Maureen gave a lot of design to it, and Ray was there the entire time. So it's been fun for all of us just to be a part of the project.
Is it all done?
No, I'll let Roger say the date, and
well,
if
and
he's
of course,
interested. But
and I think all of these projects have the handicap of occurring during the pandemic.
Right.
We're
we did the project in 2 phases, and we planned that going in. Phase 1 is really all of the classroom areas and then the main office areas that we use. And phase 2 is the back side of the building away from Wisner, and that includes the cafeteria, the kitchen, the gym, the old pool area, which was filled in many years ago, but it was still a great big area. And we're converting that into space for professional development that we'll use for our staff as well as other school staff throughout Jackson County. And that is well underway with a target completion of June of this year.
Mm. So you've been using schools all over the county at your main campus where your offices are. Does that function of that building or that campus change at all with the opening of this?
It won't. We still have some professional development space out there, which we will use, but we just have more space now, especially with a lot of our special education staff. When we pull all of the therapists together across the county, oftentimes we had to rent space from someplace because we didn't have a space big enough to bring them all into one area. Now we have those kinds of spaces.
Well, it's got to help your transportation situation too.
Most certainly. But yeah, it'll centralize transportation. It makes it so that we don't have as late drop off and early pickup as before because they're coming to a more centralized area. And I just think it's going to bring efficiencies we've just never had.
Well, while you're here, let's talk about a couple of things happening. The Career Center has the open house, I believe, I have the day here, February 22nd.
Yep, that is always a great time for the community to come in and see what's happening. I know the Career Center staff loves to show off during that time and show the various programs that are going on. February is a busy recruitment month. I think all of the 10th graders will go through the Career Center by the end of this week. I've seen a lot of buses out there and a lot of kids going in and out. And so February is CTE month, and it's just a time to bring kids in and show them what's available.
Roger, I think you mentioned earlier that the building was essentially given to you by JPS.
Right.
An example of the cooperation between the school districts that occur in Jackson County. You actually do a lot of the back office work for a lot of the school districts. There's a lot of cooperation that people don't see that happens all throughout the county.
That's right, Bart. I'm responsible for finance, and we provide the business office to a number of the smaller districts in the county. If they're interested, we'll perform the service for them. And with others, we coordinate and cooperate and help each other out. We also do a lot in the area of technology and a number of things. So, I grew up and most of my career was in the Detroit area, and coming out to Jackson, I think it's just the right size. There are a lot of resources, but not enough that everybody has all of their own. So we've learned to cooperate and share and take advantage, and it just seems just the right size to really promote that kind of sharing and cooperation and togetherness, and not just within schools, but schools and the hospital system and businesses and others. So a lot of good stuff like that happening.
Great to hear about it, and great to celebrate the Brick Award for the ISD.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, thanks.
Yep.
Good to see you both. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks, Bart.
Thank you.
You bet. From the Jackson County Intermediate School District, Superintendent Kevin Oxley and Director of Finance and Operations, Roger Hours.